What, as far as you see it, is the collaboration gap between creative and performance teams?
I think it is, yeah, natural for performance and creative teams to have different backgrounds, have different priorities with creatives. And that does come at the risk of if we have performance and creative teams that are speaking different languages, you risk having, as an example, beautifully designed creatives that don't necessarily convert. Or on the flip side, you have ads that are really well performing, convert very efficiently, but don't accurately represent the brand. So that's kind of problem area number one, just speaking different languages and not having the same level of alignment. I'd say another thing kind of similar to that is not being clear on goals, like our true North Star. That is oftentimes tied to unclear creative briefs, because creative briefs are meant to be, in my eyes, that single source of truth that aligns cross-functional teams, so copywriting, design, and performance teams. And so when you do have a creative brief that doesn't do that and leaves room for a lot of ambiguity, that's kind of where you run the risk of misinterpretation and different teams not working towards the same goal. I would say the last kind of bucket that comes to mind is the feedback loop. One common gap that I do observe is, after creative gets shipped out and launched into the world, there's no kind of feedback loop, there's no follow-up discussions, there's no reflection on how did that creative perform. So yeah, when you don't have that feedback loop between performance and creative teams, you do run the risk of creative learnings going wasted because you're not able to compound on those learnings. And essentially, what that can mean if you don't have that feedback loop is each time you're starting a new creative sprint, you're kind of starting from ground zero because you don't have those past learnings to layer into your next creative sprint.
I love the shared language piece. I think that's really important because the backgrounds that each of those different professions are coming from, right? Like what a creative knows about their craft versus what a performance marketer knows are so different. So, do you have any tips for us on how to bridge that gap, how to get them speaking the same language? What, outside of the brief, like, are there any introductory meetings that need to happen? Walk us through a really good working relationship.
Yeah, I'll start with the brief first and then I'll go beyond that. So I think with your creative brief, just always keeping in mind that that is meant to serve as like a single source of truth. So making sure that, as those briefs are being created, making sure that they're well thought out, well documented. My approach that I usually like to take is it's better to over explain than under explain, because there are so many ways you could like creatively interpret a sentence. So that's with respect to briefs. I'd say beyond briefs, having regular touch points where, creative and performance teams are coming together to just, yeah, reflect on performance, to talk about, what we're seeing on a broader scale with performance. One thing that I like to layer in with my regular touch points with creative and performance teams is layering and collaboration. So for one of my projects, we have bi-weekly creative performance reviews where we do talk about performance, definitely, but we do have one section at the end of our slide deck where we are talking through ads that we're seeing in the wild and just having that kind of casual conversation, because I feel like, you get more buy-in from everyone when everyone's discussing something rather than just me talking and preaching performance the entire time. So another thing kind of related to the recurring touch points would be educating everyone. Just, I think it is helpful. I'm a little bit biased based on my experience, but I do think that having a middle person who does speak kind of both languages, who can act as that bridge between performance and creative, is really helpful. So having that person or someone who can like coordinate and also just educate everyone. Because I do feel like, based on my experience, it's not that people don't want to learn or support. It's more so that, maybe they don't have that understanding yet. So just taking a little bit of time during those recurring touch points to talk through, like, okay, why are we seeing this performance? Why does it matter? And here's why we should care. And I think that is an easy way to get buy-in from like performance and creative teams. Final closing remark I'll say about this much more broadly is having that level of empathy and just, all of the soft skills that come into play when you're working with a team. So, like empathy, communication, and just being curious. We all have our different experiences, backgrounds, like priorities, and just, I think, being curious. And asking questions, being empathetic to like everyone's priorities never hurts. And I think people are always more willing to collaborate when you approach a situation with that curiosity and empathy. So, yeah, I would say those are my quick fixes. They're not that quick, but
No,
things
I
to think
love
about.
that. And I mean, there is just anecdotally, or maybe I'm reinforcing biases and stereotypes here, but it does attract different personality types, right? Performance people, creatives tend to be quite different. And so
Mhm.
I think really the quote unquote soft skills matter so much more in this area, right?
And communication too. Again, different people have different levels of understanding. So just taking a little bit of extra time to just clearly explain, like, hey, can you do this because XYZ,
Yeah.
rather than just saying, hey, do this because this is working. Like, I think there's different approaches and very different ways people can interpret how you're communicating that. So, yeah,
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much for helping us to bridge that gap.
no problem.